Industry Inner Join, uplifting data literacy across Australia and bringing conversations from data leaders straight to your ears. Get the insider information. My name is Douglas, former data analyst, now founder of DR Analytics Recruitment, and we're about to hear from one data leader.
Here we go.
Gerard McCarthy, from accountant to head of data analytics and now consultant. We've known each other for 4 years now, actually. You were the one that gave me the opportunity to enter the data and analytics world.
So time flies.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Now, the people want to hear, and I've always wanted to hear, what it looks like from starting as an accountant to a head of data analytics, why data, and now consulting in data and analytics as well.
A bit scary now to think it's taken 20 years to get to this point, but the majority of the first half of my career was accounting. That's what I studied at uni, and I was a pretty good accountant, but I didn't enjoy pure accounting. So for the 10 years or so that I spent doing that, I always looked to find ways to step aside from the pure accounting work and get involved in the decision making in the business. I wanted to be depended on as an advisor to bring financial information into decisions. So as an accountant, you have the training to be able to do that. And the more opportunities I got to do that, the more I liked it and the more opportunities came my way in return. So I sort of carved out that path as I went through accountant roles at EY, Bankwest, iiNet, and that's where I started at Pioneer Credit as well. And at Pioneer Credit is where I got exposed to data and analytics and realized, there's this other world of information that should be brought into decision making. And a lot of the time, 10 years ago, it wasn't. And there's a lot of adjacencies between accounting and data and analytics. It's, a lot of numbers and maths. So I realized that I could straddle both worlds for a little while, and then I got the opportunity to step fully over the parapet and lead the data team at Pioneer. And I haven't looked back. Data and analytics is me now. A former accountant is always a nice thing to have, good fallback, as they say. But how could you not stay in this exciting, fast-moving world of data and analytics?
For those playing at home, Pioneer Credit is an ASX-listed financial services company, mostly managing debt. And working there, I found it super interesting because it was really just managing incoming data from the debt of individuals and then trying to collect and get the data back in the form of currency.
Yeah, it is. At the heart of it, it's a business that's about relationships and rehabilitating customers, but the currency of the business is data. So there was a vast amount of data that we could work with, and there was a lot of support for investment into data and analytics. So we had a big team, as you know, about 20 people for most of my stint in the lead position of that team, and really high-end talent as well. So, I think this is one of the exciting things about data and analytics is that they had so much of an impact in the time that I was there, and they continue to now. But there's still so much more they have to offer. It's like only scratching the surface because the talent is huge, and the time it takes to sort of uncover the insights and the value for the business is a long time, but it's something that Pioneer understands really well, and they're prepared to keep investing in that space.
Managing a team of 20 with engineers, analysts, data scientists, how did you do that coming from an accounting background to start with?
Yeah, it's something that changed a lot over the 7 or 8 years that I was in that position at Pioneer. Initially, it was kind of a comfort zone move from me to come in and say, hey, I'm the dumb guy. I don't understand what you guys do really, but I understand this business really well. I understand the part you can play in it, and I'm here to help you unlock the impact that you can have. That's the position I took for the first couple of years. and that over time evolved into somebody who had a really good technical understanding of what the team do, and that allowed me to walk into the boardroom or walk into critical decisions that were being made and offer the analytics view and make it really clear how data and analytics could help the decision, and then translate that back to the team. And having that sort of end-to-end trust between the business. They trust me and what I'm putting into it, and then I've fully trusted the team to be able to pick up on the requirements and deliver something that really exceeded expectations. So I think, it kind of matured a lot over that time, my leadership style, to the point where I had a team that I could fully trust, and I didn't really need to give them a whole lot of direction and hands-on leadership. And my role became more about a connector between these high-caliber, trusted people and the decisions that were being made in the business. So just like a conduit, basically.
Between the data team and the business.
Yeah.
Understood. And now Bailey Abbott, where you're working now. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing there and the company.
Yeah, Bailey Abbott is a new name to Perth. So I'm really happy to be here talking about Bailey Abbott and getting the name out there. Bailey Abbott is a business that started in Adelaide in 2020 and has had a super successful last 5 years in South Australia. One of the top 3 fastest growing companies in the state a couple of years ago. And about a year ago, they expanded into WA. We're an IT consultancy. So my role there is primarily being in charge of the data and analytics practice, the data intelligence practice, we call it. But I also play quite a big role in growing the WA business and growing the WA brand. It's a really, it's an exciting place to be, starting a new business and growing it. And I know you've gone through that as well, Doug. So you know what I'm talking about. But I think what's great about Bailey Abbott is that it's a really human organisation. And having sat in a data and analytics head of role and worked with consultants and had a lot of consultants wanting to win my work, I quite quickly identified, Bailey Abbott's got something different here. They really care about their people. They really care about the people who are their clients and customers. And that's what we're really trying to embed into the way that we work and the way that we engage with our customers. So it's about being lean and agile and really responsive to the customer needs. And when you're growing a business, it's a good time to respond to customer needs, because if there's a certain amount of demand for a technology or a skill set in Perth, we're out there talking to the heads of data or the CIOs, picking up on those requirements, and then we can go and build our team to meet that, so that we establish ourselves with a really good fit for the Perth market.
How did you find that transition from being on the side where consultants were trying to work with you to the other side?
Definitely challenging. Sort of, it's a year in now, so I'm finding my feet a little bit. The biggest learning curve for me was kind of leaving modesty at the door and being able to walk into a conversation with a customer and realize it's a sales conversation and I'm part of the sales pitch. I need to sell myself, and I'm quite good at selling the talents of my team. I've always kind of had an element of my leadership style that prioritizes that, but myself taking a modest backseat doesn't really work in consulting. So I needed to get out there and talk about what I am capable of and what I'm going to deliver to our customers as part of the delivery team. And I think I've gotten that under my belt now, but it did take quite a while.
Well, the floor is yours. What do you think your greatest strengths are?
Am I pitching to you as a customer or as...
So DR Analytics has a massive data quality problem.
Okay.
We've got a very good database of our existing customers and candidates, but there's a lack of data quality, and that's in a separate source system. and we've got no reporting, no visibility. Quality's not great.
It's a good hypothetical. The first thing that I'm bringing to customer engagements is a really high level of quality and governance to how those engagements are delivered. So whether that's an engagement where it's just me in there providing advice, or it's me leading a team of 4 or 5 consultants, that's my number one focus, is to make sure that the experience that the customer has is exceptional, because the quality of the work that we're doing is exceptional, and that I can demonstrate that we're listening to what they need and actually fulfilling their needs. So that's always the number one thing for me. Secondly, I've lived in their shoes, so I know their challenges. Data quality is a problem. I've had plenty of data quality challenges in the past and overcome them. So I'm able to really quickly understand that and spot those pain points and offer, whether it's me offering advice or lining up the team to do the work. It's about communicating that we've solved these problems before, whether it's myself in a head of data and analytics role, or my team with other customers, or the internal roles that they've had in the past. I wouldn't say we've seen it all, because it's like how long is a piece of string? But there's a wealth of experience in our team, which is up to 17 consultants now. So they're able to get in there and really quickly, with my guidance, deliver really high quality outcomes for the customer and solve those problems, quickly, cheaply, and in a way that leaves them with a smile on their face, which is what I always wanted as head of data and analytics.
Here to help, I think
Yeah.
is the summary there. You must have hired, how many do you think, of data professionals over the past 10 years? 50 to 100?
I reckon, yeah, I was going to say 50 at least. That sounds like a really big number, but team of 20, I reckon in the 7 or 8 years I was leading that team, we've had full turnover like kind of 3 times over that period. If you looked at it end to end. So yeah, it's a lot of people. And then Bailey Abbott,
It's maybe in
15, 16 already.
Yeah, maybe in the 80s.
Could be.
70s or so.
Could be.
Yeah.
Got a few under the belt.
Yeah, wow. What do you, for the listeners at home, the budding data professionals or seniors, what are you looking for in those interview conversations from an individual?
First and foremost, that they're a genuine person, and that when I put them in front of a client or put them in front of an internal stakeholder, if it's an internal role, that they're going to be able to listen and understand and be able to make the customer or the stakeholder feel like, okay, I've been heard and somebody's going to help me with this problem. And that can sometimes just be assessed over a coffee. It doesn't have to be an interview. It doesn't have to be something that's on your CV. It can be a little bit of a look this person in the eyes assessment. But that's really critical. I think that's one of the things that I've learned through all that recruitment, is somebody can have the best CV and really wow an interview from a technical point of view. But if they can't show empathy for a customer or a stakeholder, if they can't allow the stakeholder to feel like, okay, they've got it under control and I can leave them to it, then they're not likely to be successful. And that is something that you probably can't teach very, very much. It's got to be innate, I think.
How do you develop that for the person listening at home that wants to, as an interview next week, go in there and be genuine?
Well, you got to be yourself, number one, and if the candidate naturally isn't an empathetic person, naturally isn't a good listener, naturally isn't caring, I don't think they can go and learn to be necessarily. I think maybe they need to be looking for roles that better fit their attributes. Like there's a best person for the job for every job, but not everyone is going to be right for every type of role, if that makes sense. So sometimes it's about for candidates, identifying the type of role and the culture of the business that they're looking to go into that fits with their natural style and personality. Because I've worked in organisations that aren't reliant on personal relationships and have a more or have a less interpersonal culture, and those people might fit well there. So that's why I say you always got to be yourself, because you got to be true to yourself, and you got to go for the roles that are going to work well for you as a person, not just for your skills and experience and certifications.
Yeah, it's difficult advice for the person that's been rejected from an interview and wants to and has been told to change to be better.
If they haven't had the chance to,
but then you're trying to find the organisation that fits. Hiring in consulting versus in a industry organisation, financial services, is there any differences there that you see?
Yeah, definitely. And this is actually back to your question before about myself transitioning into the consulting world. One thing I had to learn is how to divide your focus across multiple customers and projects and have an equal amount of care for all of them, because I'm the type of person that when I'm in a role, I'm all in that role. And that was very easy in an organization like Pioneer, where everybody was pulling in the same direction. So you sort of get on that train and you go all in, and then things open up for you. And when I came to consulting, it was very easy for me to be all in on Bailey Abbott, because I really love what Bailey Abbott are trying to do. But I also had to have that same level of enthusiasm and motivation for success for our customers. So that was a bit foreign to me. And so that comes into the recruitment as well. I need to look for people in consulting that can divide their attention, juggle multiple things. And also most of the candidates that I've come across in consulting are the type of people that are well suited to consulting because they're independent people, and that being a really independent person lends itself to consulting, because a lot of the time as a consultant you are going out to a client's office, you're on the road, you're in the office, you're at home. You know, you need that independence. You don't have the stability of a 9 to 5, Monday to Friday office culture around you. So you need to be self-sufficient. You need to generate opportunities yourself. And that's something I look for in consultants that I didn't really need to in an internal role.
Yeah, a slightly different customer-facing attitude, I guess.
Yeah.
I've always seen it as consulting, you work, depending how it's set up, but you're working in two businesses. One is Bailey Abbott, and then Bailey Abbott's a client, and you're working for both of them at the same time, and getting that into your head can be challenging.
Yeah, it's also exciting, because it is for me anyway. I really like learning about different businesses, and funnily enough, for somebody who's spent 95% of their career in Perth, I'd never worked with mining companies up until now, and we've got multiple mining companies that we call customers at the moment, and I'm really enjoying learning about heavy machinery and mining production, and speaking to engineers. And I just haven't had that exposure up until now. So it is a great opportunity to learn about a lot of different businesses and industries.
Yeah, be so much variety.
I'm sure recruitment's the same, right?
Yeah, it's some conversations, like a data engineer briefing yesterday was, what's your existing platform? SQL Server with 2 source systems. Where do you want to go to? Snowflake or Databricks, and how are you going to do that? Well, there'll be a person, we're not sure about ingestion tools. So it's sort of starting from ground zero, then how does a person fit into that mix?
Yeah.
Slightly different, but I've seen a lot more data platforms out there. Different varieties of how data is structured and how they're going to serve their business users or customers. And consulting as well. There's a few consultants. Sometimes they're allocated full-time on a project, and sometimes they're allocated on 3 or 4 at one time.
Yeah.
Data governance, or whether it is standing up a Snowflake platform as well.
Yeah, that's right. It can be a variety of project areas that you're working on. You know, it's not just that I'm doing 3 data projects. It can be a data governance project and an architecture project and a data strategy project. And,
Mm.
you need a different mindset for each one.
Yeah, absolutely. You must have seen one social sentiment of data analytics and now AI change, but also the technical team and also what you did with data as well change. What's in, I guess, last couple of years, what have you seen change and where do you see it going in the future?
That's a really good question. I said back at the start that data and analytics is constantly changing, and that's one of the things that I really love about it. So it is hard to think about it in blocks of like before and after because it's just so fluid. I think you see different trends come through. And when I first started in data and analytics, the trend was big data. It was about storing as much data as possible because all data is valuable. And you would hear phrases like data is the new oil. And like we've come completely full circle on that, which I'll get to. The next phase was all about data science, machine learning, and I can remember data scientist being named the sexiest job title in the world at one point, and I was hiring for data scientists at the time, and I thought, okay, here we go. They're going to ask for more money now because it's sexy. But the demand was huge. Every company wanted a data scientist. I don't think many of them knew why, but they knew they needed one. And then when AI came in, you got the prompt engineering, the AI engineering stuff that was really hot for a while and then has started to cool off. And all those boring things like data governance are starting to come back to the fore, and data management, and people and enterprises are realizing that the quality of the data, the security of the data, the management of the data is really, really important for a business to do those exciting things. So it was a bit of that classic hype cycle over the last few years where everybody ran for having a piece of the exciting new technology, and then a few things went wrong, and a few spillages happened, and people want to pull back and say, okay, let's go get our data in check, and that's becoming quite a theme with the customers that we talk to. There's a lot of work in data governance that we're picking up at the moment because businesses want to be at the front of the AI wave, but they now understand that they've got to get the house in order before they jump on the surfboard.
Mm. Where do you see that AI wave going? I've asked you before, but boom or bust, or what do you think?
Yeah. It's a financial boom at the moment, and I think it is heading for financial bust. And I mean that in the capital markets sense. Like there's this crazy situation happening where it's almost like circular financing, like all the big AI companies and big tech and big vendors, they're all financing each other to grow and grow and grow, and it's wild. Like they're talking about $100 billion partnerships, and you think, where do these numbers come from, and where are they getting this capital from? So it's almost snowballing, and I think at some point that has to collapse. But that's the financial market side. The technology side, that's the side I'm really excited about because I think the boom is accelerating and it's going to keep going in an exponential way. Even if the financial markets kind of collapse, the amount of progress that's been made with the AI models at the moment it's really astounding. Like you look back to what it was 6 months ago, what it was a year ago, and we were amazed back then, and it's just come so far since. And every time criticisms come out about the limitations of AI, they're very quickly solved or worked around. And I don't think that gets talked about a lot. I think the criticisms get talked about a lot, and then 6 months later, they're no longer criticisms and people just forget or they find new ones. But I think the technology is good enough at the moment that really, really significant positive changes can come from AI in a business context. But it's going to take quite a long time for businesses to extract that value, because I think the way that AI models are used needs to become a lot more intuitive for businesses and a lot more designed for businesses. And I know the big AI companies are working on this, so I expect to see a lot come out in the next year or two that will accelerate the business side of things. But when I say they're good enough now, they are going to get better and better and better. And again, we're going to be looking back in a year or two and going, wow, I can't believe how far they've come. So it's really hard to say where are they heading. I just think it's going to keep going and keep amazing us. And really, if the big tech companies like the OpenAIs and the Anthropics, if they can crack those codes to make it really, really useful for business, really easy for business, then it will take off from there.
I really like what you've said about it's already enough. What has been developed so far is enough today. We could play with this for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
So it's just what's next as well.
Yeah. And it's an interesting technology because there's no manual for it. There's no guidebook that says this is what AI is good at and this is what AI is not good at, and here's how to use it. So the only way really to learn those things and embed them in your brain is to do it, is to just keep using it and using it and using it. And you'll bump your head up against things that don't work well and go, okay, I'll stop trying to use it for that. And you will uncover ways that work better than you expected, and then you can start to leverage that. So I think that's also one thing that will change over the next couple of years is there'll be like a collective understanding that starts growing, almost like that herd immunity kind of mentality where everybody starts working out what they're good at and what they're not. And having a mutual understanding of that means that people can collaborate about where they should use AI in business and where not to.
The activation energy to make a decision about where to apply it. Everyone's on the same page, so it's lower. So quicker decisions, and then the iteration loops, more failure, more success.
Yeah, and also everybody is at a different point on that journey of understanding how to use AI well. And I think if you can have more collaboration about it, then the people who are further ahead can bring the people who aren't along the journey a lot quicker.
For that journey, what about going back to careers? What would you be studying if you were a graduate, or perhaps your son was turning 18 and looking at university? What would you recommend people take for direction?
I studied commerce. It's a very bland, broad.
Guilty as well.
Okay. Yeah. And I remember majoring in marketing one semester, majoring in PR a bit later. I did sports administration. Commerce lets you try a whole bunch of different things that are really foundational for business. And I think that set me up really well. So that's a good one. IT, computer science. I think that's been crucial for a lot of really successful people to have that in their tertiary education, even if they don't land in IT roles initially, because IT demand for roles can sort of come and go. That's a really good foundation as well. So especially now, having an understanding of computer science and then working with technology and data and AI, you've got the grounding of how it works behind the scenes. And, not so much what would they study, but again, they should just get exposed to new technology as much as possible, get exposed to AI as much as possible. So my son's just about to turn 11. He's not quite old enough yet, but when he is at the right age, I will be trying to teach him as much as I can about how to use AI. And if he wants to learn about how it all works under the hood, that's great. I can teach him that too. But if he doesn't, I think the most important thing is to learn to use the technology that's going to become commonplace in the time that he starts to look for careers.
University may look very different for him as well.
Yeah.
And the careers out there.
Yeah, I'm sure university already looks very different from when I was there a long time ago.
A lot of it's online now as well. That's what Rachel's studying, financial analytics as well, all online. Outside the professional world, what would you say your greatest achievement is?
Um, I'm just going to give the cliche answer, but family, like everything that I've achieved with my wife and my kids. We've got a great little lifestyle, great kids, great relationships. So that's what more could you ask for, really? Like that's a huge piece of the puzzle of life for me. And I've also got a really great family network around me. My sisters, my parents, my sisters' families. So I think I'm in a really lucky position where I'm turning 40 this year. Thank you. It should be celebrated. And I've got a great life, great family, really happy, nothing really to worry about in life. So lots of little challenges that come up, especially with raising kids, but really strong network, really strong partnership with my wife. So that's an achievement.
How did you balance both of them? And this goes for any career, but as you were climbing the corporate ladder, so to speak, which means a lot more time as well at times. How did you balance both of those?
It's another thing that's changed a lot over the 20-year career and 10 of those years with kids. I think, like a lot of successful males, there's a superwoman partner at home who shoulders a really heavy load. And my wife is that, absolutely. So she works as well, and she does a lot of things at home behind the scenes that just enable me to follow my career, and she's got a career that she's following as well. So she needs to be always called out as the sort of key enabler of that in my mind, and having that really good sync between us, so that when I need to ramp up work or ramp it down and ramp up family time, like we're always on the same page with that, and she makes sure that it all works as well. But I think also, as an individual, you need to make a decision about how you're going to balance all that out, and that's changed a lot in the last few years for me. Like a lot of people, particularly when COVID affected the way that we do flexible working in a lot of positive ways. For me at the moment, I've got really clear boundaries for when I'm working and when I'm not, so that when I'm not, I can have 100% focus on my family or my friends or myself, whatever's needed at the time. But it's things like when I get home, my phone goes straight into the bedroom and I close the door, and I don't bring that out again until the kids go to bed. And my work and life are integrated as well around that. So when I do grab the phone once the kids have gone to bed, there might be messages from work. There might be something that I need to jump back on and close out. But it's not a high priority for me. And there have been times in my career where it didn't stop when I came home from work. It did just keep going into the night, into the weekends. And I'm quite discerning about when I let that happen now. And it's really important that you work in an organization that supports the way you want to work like that as well. So that's something I've been fortunate with Bailey Abbott and fortunate with Pioneer, that that they've given me the flexibility, they've given me the autonomy to decide how I fit work around my family. And that is really critical as well.
I think it ebbs and flows throughout the careers. No kids on my side. That will be the next recruitment project for the future.
Good luck.
Thank you. 18-year project. For the budding data professional, you're speaking to someone that's keen on growing in the industry. There might be a senior or they might be just graduated. What's your advice to them if you're speaking to them?
This is actually a piece of advice that I do give a lot, is take every opportunity that comes your way. Don't worry too much about whether it looks like the opportunity that you'd pictured in your head, particularly for data roles where a lot of graduates or a lot of people who have transitioned from a non-data and analytics role into the field, they have a certain idea about the role title that they want or the purpose that they want for their role. And one thing that has remained true for all the really successful people that I've worked with in this field is that the more broad experience you can get in business, the better. And if that means you're graduating with a data degree, but you go and work in a finance team first as a finance analyst, or you go and work in a call center or whatever it is, you'll learn skills and experience that become invaluable to the role that you want to get to later in your career. I know that's a really hard thing to say or hard thing to hear for graduates, because they just want to get to the role that they've been working towards for so long. But you'll attest to this, Doug. At Pioneer Credit, we had really successful people working in our team who had come from call center backgrounds, who had come from a really diverse array of degrees, most of them not data or computer science degrees. There was everything from biomedical science to neurology to engineering and commerce. And yourself coming from recruitment, blue-collar recruitment, into data and analytics, but you're bringing those things that you've learned in another industry and applying them with a data and analytics lens, because at the end of the day, we're there to serve the business. So the more you can put yourself in the shoes of the business that you're serving, the better outcome you'll get. And it's the same for consulting when you're putting yourself in the shoes of the customers.
Absolutely. Well, as we wrap up, you've mentioned Bailey Abbott's potentially hiring as well. Where should people go if they want to see?
Yes, absolutely. We are on a growth path. So whenever you hear this podcast, we're probably hiring. We have roles up on LinkedIn currently. There's a senior BI role and a data analyst role there at the moment. But you know where to find us: on our website, on LinkedIn. Even if you're walking around the Perth scene, you'll start to see more Bailey Abbott, because we're going to start to be getting the brand out there at events more. And it doesn't hurt to go up and talk to somebody wearing the Bailey Abbott pin, because sometimes relationships are the best way into a recruitment pipeline. So
absolutely, I know that, as that's how my recruitment started into Pioneer Credit. And I want to say thank you for that opportunity, as it's led us to 4 years later in this room now.
Yeah, who would have thought that mutual barista would bring us together to a podcast studio?
Sometimes it doesn't make sense, but it's made sense on the other side. Gerard, episode number 7, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Doug. Pleasure to be here.